Good evening, dear televiewers of Cam1 Television Limbe. You're welcome to yet another edition of your program, Newsstand. Newsstand is a press review program that comes up over Cam1 Television every Mondays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. 1 hour, we'll be talking about what is happening in the press, what is making news in the press. I'm your host, Frank Lyunga Ngale. Thanking you for joining me for the next 1 hour. We want to urge all our viewers, our diverse social platform, YouTube, social medias, Facebook, to remain blessed. We'll be back with more details on what is making news with the papers. And certainly welcome back. We dive straight away with what the papers are saying this Monday, the 15th day of February 2021. We dive straight away with the Post newspaper. The Post newspaper in its number 02161. The Independent newspaper caption their edition: soldiers torture a woman almost to a point of near death. According to the paper, a mixed contingent of Cameroon police force, the gendarme and the army tortured a man to near death in Du subdivision in the northwest region for refusing to disclose the whereabouts of separatist fighter in that locality. However, the division officer of Du subdivision has ordered disciplinary legal measures against perpetrators. The mayor of the Du council equally admitted that the defense forces have been using the council premises for their operation. Still in the Post newspaper, Fundi to surrender the SDF chairmanship at the next SDF convention. Fundu says the youth should take over the leadership of the party. We remain in the Post newspaper, where Biya authorized minister to raise 350 billion francs from state treasury bond. Away from the Post newspaper, and this time we are taking you straight into the Cameroon Insider. Cameroon Insider, a bi-weekly press, talk about 5,000 Nigerian refugees living in Cameroon are ready to go home back. Voluntary repatriation of 5,000 Nigerian refugees in Cameroon. This follows a recent tripartite meeting involving the Cameroon government, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, and the Nigerian government. Equally, the Cameroon Insider talk about Fabrice Ondoa finds a new club after the Cameroonian compatriot was dismissed from KV Ostendel. That is a club in the Belgian league last December 2020. He now joins the Croatian side NK Instra. Still, we move away from the Cameroon Insider, and we are taking you straight away to the Media newspaper. The Media newspaper talks about the challenges tasks that await new inspector generals in the Ministry of Secondary Education, as violence, deviant behavior are on the rise in our school milieu. He equally talks about the cold hands of death, where death strikes the National Assembly again. This time, Honorable Jibrila Kawu bows to the cold hands of death. He was buried over the weekend. Away from the Median newspaper, and this time we are taking straight away to the Voice newspaper. The Voice newspaper caption this edition of the paper: tired of war, test for peace. This was a message that was re-echoed by the Archbishop of the Bamenda Ecclesiastical Province, Bishop Andrew Kea, as conflict has already claimed thousands of lives, hundreds of thousands of persons displaced, as well as businesses and livelihood destroyed. The paper equally talks about Frundi, where the opposition and emblematic leader of the Social Democratic Front says it is time to go. With the Guardian Post, this time the English Loan Daily, the Guardian Post equally carried this special edition where it was a retrospect on the Ngabo incidents that clocked exactly 1 year as military unlatches another barbaric act in Du subdivision. The Guardian Post equally talks about suspected Amba fighters that killed 3 Lebialem chiefs, as well as irritated population rescue the fund from captive from the hands of separatist fighter. We move over to the next newspaper. This time we are talking about the Star newspaper. We want to say kudos to His Royal Highness late Chief Kemayan Paul, as the legacy lives on, focus on organization with people living with disabilities, on the neck of the government to ratify the convention right of person living with disabilities, and certainly equally the Star newspaper talk about Frundi bounce out of leadership. When you check the Star newspaper on page 2, you'll find that a very interesting story. And still on the Star newspaper as well, journalists must be celebrated and have celebrated others. This was a message from the Cameroon the Cameroon English speaking journalist, National President Viban Juta, is while installing newly elected executive of the Limbe Tico chapter. This was over the weekend at the U Complex. And certainly, dear viewers of Cam1 Television, there is what the papers are saying. I will be back in a jiffy while inviting the guests for the second phase of this edition of the program. Don't go away. We'll be back soon with our guest in this edition. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back. If you're watching, this is Cam1 Television and the program on your screen is Newsstand. Newsstand, like I said, is a program that comes every Mondays from 6 p.m. right up to 7 p.m. We equally, those watching us live on our social media platform, talking about the YouTube and Facebook, we equally urge you to remain glued. As this time I'll be introducing my guest in the studio, beginning with my right. It's a veteran still in the profession. He is, I call him Sir Benjamin Echinge. He's the acting editor-in-chief of the Star newspaper based here in Limbe. He has been working in this profession for close to 2 decades, and he's a columnist, and he's right here for us to digest. Welcome, sir. And certainly it's a wonderful day for us to be together after a very long weekend coupled with Valentine's Day. Okay, what really catch your attention with the papers with the papers in today's edition of the paper?
The papers for the week, let me just say, in the collective sense, the papers for the week. You see, I have to say this, but it's really disparaging. You see, almost 58% of Cameroonians don't read. Let me just say that 58% of the Cameroonians are illiterate.
Yeah.
Another, if you move that number from 58 to 84 have gone to school.
Yeah.
And then the rest are very thoroughly well read. Now, the one from 58 to 84, that percentage inside there, you understand?
Yeah.
They are educated.
Yeah.
But they are, we call them educated illiterates because they don't read after that.
Yes.
They are illiterate. There's no way you have formal education and then you don't read. So when you talk about in the collective sense, when we look at the papers for the week,
yeah,
they don't buy.
Okay.
Those that are supposed to be able to afford,
yeah,
they don't buy. You don't blame the man on the street.
Yeah, that is why there's a common saying that if you want to hide something from a Cameroonian, hide it within the pages of the book. But notwithstanding, what are some of the headlines that caught your attention?
When you talk about, let me start with Frunde's case.
Yeah.
There is no doubt where we are today, Frunde got us there. Aside that, for me, it's disappointed Cameroonians very badly.
Okay.
Yes, he got us to where we are. One can express himself. Know that at the time he was risking 6. You remember that they sacrificed 6 lives before the SDF had to stand.
Yeah.
And to get us to where we are.
The Ntaranku incident.
Yes. But after that, between 1990 and now, Frunde completely derailed.
Okay, so we'll see how much you talk about. We'll see how much you talk about what comes to our talking points. And this time again, another veteran. It seems as if we are launching this program with veteran journalists, just to ensure that our audience, our viewers, understand the quality of the program that we are bringing towards them. And this time it's Pa Sama George, the veteran journalist. He has worked with the Star newspaper, the Guardian Post, the Weekly Post, the Eden Radio, Ocean City Radio, Eternity Gospel Radio. He's a TV presenter for Old Timers, and currently he's working with the excellent magazine. Pa Sama, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm Yonga. I'm happy, and I also thank you to have invited me to come to this program. And I will also, before going ahead, I've been a presenter of an Old Timers program over Cam1 TV for the past some years back.
Yeah.
And I've been absent from the program.
Thank God.
Thank God that He brought me back to life. But any time from now, we'll come back. And
okay.
I'm also happy to join you in the program, which is the
newsstand. The newsstand.
Yeah, the newsstand of the program, and we pray that the program should come and stay.
Okay.
And it will always stay because of the contribution of our viewers. Those
Okay.
that will be viewing us, and what we are going to say, I hope they will be contributing to make the program sustain and remain as it has come.
Okay, so Pastor Ma, what really caught your attention within today's edition of the paper?
Yes, as Mr. Chenge also said, I would like to item of that lineup which attracted me because Frundi started SDF in the 90s, and that party had a crowd pulling. The population followed Frundi in the beginning of that party, at the beginning of that party, and that party, Frundi's appearance in the public started declining because some of the members were selling out, and they sold out, and they were weakening the party. I remember at one time at the community field when Frundi launched, when he was coming, so many fruits on that pawpaw tree. And he told people that as you are watching the pawpaw tree full like that, by the time of its harvest, they will harvest only a few. Many will get bad because there are bad ones inside.
Yeah.
And that's why he's saying SDF. And he says sometimes when this party will be going further, most of these people will disappear.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, coming back to you, Mr. Benjamin, the architect of the downfall of the SDF, some people believe, is from the chairman, Nijon Frundi. How justifiable is this statement?
It is not Frundi per se.
Okay.
I remember in 1993, I was in Yaoundé. At the time I was working at the Herald newspaper. And I went for coverage in one of Frundi's meetings. And during the questioning session, one francophone asked Frundi that, look, you have not gone to school. Now you are aspiring to lead Cameroonians. If you were to become the head of state, how are you going to rule this country? Frankly speaking, as I didn't collapse that day, I will never collapse in my life. My heart jumped to my throat. How is this man going to answer this question?
Yeah.
But Frundi is an intelligent man, and he said straight that it might be that he has not gone to school, or let us just assume that he has not gone to school. But he is not alone in his executive. He has people who are thoroughly educated who are surrounding him.
But coming back to these questions,
yes.
I think when you look at SDF, they had people like Professor Ngwasiri and a host of university dons that were circulating Frundi. But a certain article 8.2, we saw most of these educated top ranking of the SDF quitting the party.
Yes, the problem is not even that Article 8.2. The problem is the constitution of the NEC.
Yeah.
You understand? Can you imagine that out of the 34 or 36 members in NEC, only about four are Westerners?
Yes.
That is unacceptable. You understand? No? So it largely was a Bamad and Ban affair.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
No? And so it's coming back to answer you, the way the SDF operates gives room for suspicion. You understand? And you are using people, it's a group of people. Why did Asongani and the rest leave? 50 of them resign one time because of the happenings inside the SDF.
Yeah.
I remember, let me quote another instance where SDF brings disgrace to itself. SDF caused, it is the members inside there that had made the SDF lose credibility before the public. I remember before this Article 66 that indicates that government officials should declare their assets.
Yeah.
That is, the whole game was going to hook on the head of state and his collaborators. I mean, those top government officials who have committed one crime or the other, and they know that people know. Now, what happened? The parliament at the time, we hadn't a senate.
Yes.
The members of the National Assembly were bribed. You understand? They were given plenty of money, and I remember that each vice president and there are 5 of them in the National Assembly. I remember that each of them was given 58 million, if I'm not mistaken. You understand? At the time, how do they call this man? Mbandam.
Mbandam, the late Mbandam.
Yes, he had a rank of a vice president in the National Assembly. So I asked the question. I said, when they were given this money, but I know people who, some of them, this in Chinda, this low one, they were given 12 million. But I know some, those big ones, they have something substantial to make them let that bill pass. You understand? No? I asked, did Mbandam take it? Knowing fully well that it's an SDF man.
Yeah.
I know the answer came that they're out. They're out. So he turned his back and he helped himself. You understand? When you are doing like this, you make people lose interest, and so the disgrace, the shame, if the SDF it has nothing to offer today, so to speak, is the SDF itself.
Okay, Pastor George, when we look at the leadership of Social Democratic Front, it has been a one-man show. Nijon Fundi, and Nijon Fundi. Remember, SDF boycotted one of the very important legislative election, and the recent elections into the regional executive, the regional House of Chiefs, and the regional council. The Social Democratic Front boycotted the election. SDF party faced a lot of diminishing return as compared to the euphoria in 1990, 2021. The Social Democratic Front is nowhere to be found.
Yes, what I would say about the SDF, Frundi and the members is that Frundi is not the failure of that party. The followers felt him. Because many followers came to SDF looking at the crowd, they thought it was an easy matter to get to the top very easily. Mm-hmm. When they came, they saw that it was a difficult cause. And most of them started abandoning the party because there was no money in the party. First came up as they took him for an adventurer.
Yeah.
But for example, one of the Secretary Generals, Siga Asanga, that is his nephew, is his family member of his family. That year he himself disappointed Frundi. Frundi became that at a certain moment, as I was telling you about the pawpaw tree, where he showed the example from that pawpaw tree. That time will come where many of these fruits will fall.
Yeah, will fall
Only
off.
a few ones will remain that will be harvested.
Okay.
And that's what happened, where they started going one by one, and Frundi alone could not stand the party. When some of the militants had sold their consciences, and they were no longer having the faith with the party. So that was some of the causes of why some of that party fell, and Frundi could not further go ahead. Because you cannot be going ahead when the followers are not longer there. You must fail. And when you fail, they will blame but you, the leader.
Yeah.
Like what is happening in Cameroon today. Many people talk and point hand to the head of state here, of which all of them are doing more worse than what the head of state is doing before. They went at the end, they point fingers to the head of state. So I would like to say that if you are a leader and you don't have good, responsible followers, you always fail.
Okay, 679 679 868 679 868. You can send a message to WhatsApp or an SMS. That will make many thanks to the management of the Cam One Television, and equally through our social media platform. You can equally get to us. Coming back to you, Acting Editor-in-Chief. During the head of state New Year regional politics, that is handing over the baton of command to the youth, we saw within the rank of the Social Democratic Front, Nijon Fundi have been grooming some young politicians like Joshua Usi. Do you think the youths can complete what Napoleon left undone in the SDF?
Let us see, the question is twofold. Yeah. One, the head of state made a statement to the youths that they should work very hard because they have to lead tomorrow. Fine. We have been having senseless talk like this, the PhD. You understand? In mathematics. You understand?
Yeah.
That child that is at that level with the PhD in mathematics did not come from the background that some of us will have. You understand?
Yeah.
That child is totally from a house of affluence. You understand? He had everything. Everything is there for him to become even. He should have even had that PhD by the age of 20.
Yeah.
You understand? No? He has everything to his credit. In fact, if it was otherwise, it was a total failure to the society. You understand? But how many people, how many who are outside this range, who barely their parents struggle to make a living, and then even to even graduate is a problem. It's terrible, eh? You understand? So when you are now saying they use, we are fed up with this kind of thing. After how many years? More than 38 years. It's the same cock and bull story. No. Let's go down to Frundi.
Yeah.
You talk about Frundi having handed over command of power to Joshua Osih. We know. We did well. Huh? But like I said, the SDF and the SDF top notch. Some people, when they see Joshua Osih, he's the same 10 and 10 pence like Lee John Frundi.
Yeah.
They are all a bunch of failures. It is the same thing, no? You understand? I didn't know in the same portrait assemblage that they have failed the people. They should get out. When they are talking about youth who are coming up, go to school until the generation of people, until the laws are changed, you have to change the mentality of, for now like this, there's no concrete structure into place to change the mentality of the average Cameroonian, the youth, so to speak. That's where the problem lies. Change people's mentality, and then we have a generation of youth who can lead this country. I was in Ghana a few years ago when I was working. I was surprised. Ghana sacrificed for 3 years. They did not go, schools did not open. But when General took over, he injected a new sense of direction among the public in Ghanaian. You understand? And today, Ghana is, you will not believe it, Ghana beats Nigeria hands down in terms of everything. Everything. You understand?
Yeah.
You need to be in Accra before you know what I'm saying. The average graduate in Ghana earns 5 million cedis. That's 250,000 francs. 5 million cedis, 250,000 francs. But here we have in Cameroon here, the graduate, you can actually, from where we are seated here, take a radius of 1 kilometer, go around and capture any graduate who is within this radius. You understand? Tell me how many of them earn even 100,000. Has he even first seen a job to give him 50,000? So these are not the problem.
Okay, Pasama, the other day, the Lord Mayor to the Limbe 2 Council, His Royal Majesty Chief Ndive Walker Daniel, chaired the first edition of the Junior Councillors, the youth, for a relay baton to take over the baton of command. Are the youths of Cameroon ready to take up this challenge?
Yes, talking about the youth taking over command, it's not only taking command, but looking at the no, you want to take any command, because you cannot take command in an atmosphere where you are not sure of that atmosphere. And the problem in Cameroon for now is a major problem, which is not yet put in order. And until that problem is put in order, you must know where you want what.
When we talk about the terrain is not yet prepared, what do you mean about the terrain?
At the moment, currently, we have we have these Anglophone problems holding Cameroon down for about 4 years today, which needs a thorough checking and settlement of that problem. And the youth too will be free to do something better. Okay. Because you cannot be doing something, they are molesting your father there, and you are fighting to take over from the other end. I don't think you will be happy to be taking over where some of your family members are dying, some of them are being molested, some of them have been locked up. You cannot accept that atmosphere. Unless when the atmosphere will be clear, youth will also be happy to take over.
Okay.
Like what we were talking about, SDF and Frundi, we don't have nobody looks at political parties at the moment, as the atmosphere is not yet clear. You are talking about SDF, nobody will want to listen. Talking about UNDP now, nobody will want to listen. They have fought for several years and no good results have been yielded. And now, if the Frundi going to say, we want to hand over to the youth, like sometimes when he was there, people were crying that he should hand over to OC, until finally OC took over. But when say OC took over, nothing changed from what he even did.
It is a went from fry pan to fire.
Yeah, from fry pan to fire. So we don't see anything like talking about political party at the moment.
So there is no hope at the end of the day for Social Democratic Front. You see, do you foresee Social Democratic Front disappearing like some parties like APF that are nowhere to be found? Do you foresee the once powerful Social Democratic Front in the 90s being a shadow of itself today?
The party is a shadow of itself following the situations of the country. Because if you are going ahead and you have people pulling your legs behind, you cannot succeed. Before you succeed, you must be united. You must speak in one language before you succeed. And Frundi had hungry followers who were first of all poor. They came in because they wanted to make name. And when they came, that means of making the name was not there. They looked for other greener pastures where they can make name and make money, build houses, and then become and look like people. But inside SDF, they were moving like beggars. And that's what some of the causes that left, cause of some of them to leave SDF, and that party fell. Now you talk of SDF anywhere in Cameroon, and nobody will even want to listen, or any political.
Where, according to the media and newspaper, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Lyonga, installed new Inspector Generals in the Ministry of Secondary Education, with one point on the agenda, target violence, deviant behavior. I mean, there has been an increase of deviant behavior in the school milieu. What do you think is the cause of it? Is it lack of parental control? Is it the school, they don't, the management or the disciplinaries?
You talk about deviant behavior. Deviant, who is a deviant in the first place? Somebody who is stubborn.
Yeah.
Why should somebody be stubborn? Because the structures in place, he or she is against them. You understand?
Yes.
Why is she selected only school milieu? They should come out. The youth in school there, they come from homes. And a child is as good as a product of the home. You understand? Hardship today has occasioned many homes to fall apart. A child who comes from a home where the parents are always at loggerheads carries this behavior to school. You understand now? So the government has only itself to blame. You understand? Because the system is failed. Let's call it a spade a spade. Those who are running the country is more than them. Let us accept this. They should admit it. And then you talk about, just a while ago, you talk about youth, the council, the councillor, or whatever, the chief.
Junior councillor.
Yes, it was talking about youth in the council to take over leadership. At one time, the head of state is talking about in his speech that youth should come over and take over leadership. And then he contradicts himself. Another time he says that pick your cutlass and go to the farm. You understand?
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the farm and do plenty of farming, 1 hectare, 2 hectares, and come and lead?
But the farmer can be a politician.
You are not simply understanding me. You are reasoning like these people, and it irritates somebody who the opportunities are not there.
Yeah.
They don't. The public service, you are supposed to go by the age of 60. It's only in the academics that you go after 70, maybe 80, because the more you stay in academics, the more productive you become.
Yeah.
But in the public service, 60, 70 should be off. You understand? And this, what I don't know how to call these people who are now in this position. They don't want to leave. You understand? So how is even a young man who has a first class in the university, how is he going to go? First and foremost, the employment is not there. Talk less of becoming a leader. How are you going to become when the opportunity is not there? Why should it keep hoodwinking people? The opportunity are not simply.
Yeah, let's focus on the deviant behavior in our school milieu. Let's focus on.
I'm saying that the system has itself to blame.
Okay. How can a system be blamed for a deviant child in the household? Is it not the parents to be blamed? Instead, you're talking of the system to be blamed.
You have not gotten me. Let me graphically present what I am saying. I'm saying that the crisis, the present situation in the country, you understand, it's a failed system to begin with. You understand? It impacts in every home. You understand?
Yeah.
The father is traumatized because he has his expectations to take care of his home.
Yes.
The wife is expectant from the husband. Maybe she's not working. And by the end of the day, there's conflict. You understand? The child is coming from the home and steps out there. It gets irritated when you should understand what I'm trying to say.
I'm getting you.
Every child who is in school is a product of what she is at home, and that is where the trouble lies. So when you want to pop dividend, you first solve the economic crisis. Let people be having money to eat.
Okay, Pasama, we are talking about deviant behavior in schools, and when you go to most of our school milieus, they are being surrounded by bars. There are drug consumption is on an increase. Consumption of sachet whiskeys is on an increase amongst the students these days. Nowadays, the disc master, they always use the stroke on the students, but today, beating a child is putting yourself, the disc master, into more trouble.
Yes, really more trouble, because I remember at one time a child was beaten in school in Bafusam, a female teacher, well beaten until that female teacher collapsed. And I think if a parent can go to the school to molest a teacher, proves that the violence of children comes from their homes, the way they handle them. If the parents cannot handle their children well and allow them to have some odd type of behaviors, they will always carry those behaviors elsewhere. And when they go to areas where those behaviors are not expected, they cannot welcome it there, and it will always be a problem. You see children in the house watching some type of films, their parents are accepting them to watch of that child. The parent is there with them watching. Those are some of the things that create most of these things. That they come up with violence, and this violence can only be stopped when there's discipline.
Yeah.
When there's no discipline, there will be always violence. Some of them are on the street, which is not normal. And the parents too should be disciplined.
Okay.
You cannot tell a child that I don't want him to be out up to 9 p.m. And you, the parent, you come back at 12 midnight. 11 p.m.
Yeah.
But you are instructing the child to be in the house by 9 p.m. That child, when he knows that you come around 10:30, because he knows that by 10:30 you are not still yet in the house.
Okay.
But when you tell a child that by 9 o'clock you should be in the house, by 8:30 you should be in the house. 30 minutes before that.
It's good to lead by example.
By example.
Yeah.
Not only
because children copy from their parents,
yeah,
just like St. Benjamin was
yeah.
talking about. If there is conflict in the house,
yeah.
the conflict will extend in the school milieu. Okay.
And the system of
discipline.
System,
yeah.
The system too works on what they see, because the system too is not disciplined. You are
Yeah.
not disciplined. And when you are not disciplined, you cannot discipline another person.
Okay.
You must be first of wrong things with you, and they tell me to come and arrest you,
Yeah.
and I will come. Because I know when I fish you out, you also point me out. So discipline is one of the major points that should be respected for violence to be wiped out.
Okay. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Equally, many people are saying the absence of moral education in our school milieu, religious studies, has equally catapulted the increase of this deviant behavior amongst our youths today. The absence of moral education, no religious studies in school and things like that, or the role of the church.
All those things don't work. You first, just a moment ago, you used the term drugs. Drugs is an escapist behavior. You understand? They are trying to run away. It's just like getting into alcohol.
Yeah.
The problem is still there.
You run away from realities.
Yeah, we run away from reality.
Yeah.
Drug, some of us will tasted that.
Yeah.
You understand? You go there because it's always to procrastinate. It will be done tomorrow. It will be done tomorrow. It will be done tomorrow. And anybody who is into drugs, let me tell you why. Anybody who is into drugs does not do well academically.
Yeah.
You understand now? Now, the problem, you now come again with the idea of religion, pastors, all those things. Let me explain using my own example.
Yeah.
My father was the treasurer of the church in Nigeria. And this particular day, he didn't come to church. I went to church with my younger brother, who was small. I was still in primary school. And the church calculated all the money. He has to drive down to go until the morning because he was the treasurer. I said, Padre, give me the envelope. Where is it? I said, it's for me. Let me go to the room and take. The first thing he told me was that if a franc is missing from that money, he will cut my index finger. You understand, no? He so terrified me that my own was extra. You understand, no? The father, the parents, not a child who has a single parent has a problem. But when there's a father in the house, it is the job of the father to instill discipline in the child. Most parents have failed. You understand? You watch the child themselves in public is different.
Yeah.
The way they go about education is different, and they do extremely well. You understand? No? There's no way there's no way I'm going to correct somebody's child.
It's
You
true.
understand? If I catch the child on drugs.
But at first, when we were growing up, because I happen to have grown up in Okwata, at first, you see somebody's child going against the law, you can easily beat this child, and the parents will not make a single statement. But today, if you touch a neighbor's child, it's a complete different story.
You don't correct somebody's child without the person. Normally, the person will not like it.
Yeah.
You understand? He will not.
But it's a society that is.
You are talking about grammar.
Yeah.
You don't correct somebody's child because first and foremost, the mother will resent it.
Okay.
You understand? And this is why now we go around and come back to the value of education in the parent.
Okay.
Everything has to do with education. And we are dealing with a society which is strictly very illiterate. You understand? Like more than above average of communals, they will understand. If you spank my child, there's a difference between spanking my child and a slap.
Yeah.
Because I know that you don't want to kill him. I will only tell the child that it serves you right. You understand? And I will encourage you that more of that. The child fears. You understand? But for somebody who has not gone to school, but he or she will tell you that that's not your child. Mind your distance. You know, that's what obtains outside. It boils down to education.
Okay.
Yes. The government should make education affordable so that even at my age, I should be able to go to adult school. You understand? No? It's not all of us who can go to university, who should go to university. But at least I should get the basics. You see, there's an adage. Educated, you will not know the meaning of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
No? Yes. And without somebody going to school, the person will never understand this expression. It's all about being able to define the purpose. Because when you have a clearly defined purpose, you know exactly how to go about it.
Okay, Pastor George, before we leave that story, spoil the rod, spare the rod, spoil the child. How realistic? Because I know you are a moral somebody. There is this saying that when you spare the rod, you spoil the child. But parents these days, the rod is no longer part of a disciplinary tool to their children.
Yes, I don't agree with him on that. I cannot come and see a child committing a grievous
Offense.
crime that I know that I can discipline him and he will know that it's bad.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing to him, the parents too, when they come to, they see what he was doing. I don't think I'm going to discipline him. I discipline you on the spot on what you have been doing.
There and there.
What you are doing.
Yes.
So that you see the example, even your parents come, they will know that this man had the right. to discipline. I cannot come and you are molesting a younger child, right up to even kicking him and giving him wounds, and then I allow you. And before your parents come.
Okay. What are you actually saying, that parents should take back the rods to correct their children?
They should also correct their children. They correct that, because if the child is disciplined in the house, he cannot misbehave in the public.
Okay.
The child sometimes he misbehaves in the public because he doesn't know what he's doing. They have not taught him to be disciplined. He is maybe in his own home, sometimes only violence. And when he goes out, he wants to exercise what he has been saying at home, in the public. Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuning in, this is Cam One Television, and it's your program Newsstand over Cam One Television. Our last topic of discussion will focus on the plight of people that are on the neck of the government, for the government to ratify the conventions of the right of people living with disabilities. Acting Desk Editor, that is what your paper is talking about. You are with the Star newspaper, and that was your major caption.
Yes.
So, is there anything wrong with the people living with disabilities on their ratification of their convention rights?
Yes. Unfortunately, for this lot, the government signs conventions but doesn't respect them. You understand? There are so many conventions that government signs to help those that don't have, those that live with disabilities. But the government finds it difficult to renew these conventions. How many people who are disabled? It took me a long time to know, at my level of reasoning, it took me a long time to understand that the CDC, which is here, has 2% allocated to employ people with disabilities. How did I know? I was not supposed to know, but the clause is there. It means that if you go to CDC to find a job and you are a disabled person, you stand a chance of getting the job better than I, because your percentage is kept there. You understand? No? It took a long time for a lawyer in CDC to explain this to me. I said, what? He said, but that's like this, 2%. You understand? Unfortunately for this lot, they are not sufficiently exposed to know some of these things. In any case, we have a way that those that are normal, they look at those with disability, they look at them like reject. They look at them like reject. And you have to. I have this particular case where I was trying to help somebody who was living with disability. He had his hearing was impaired.
Hearing difficulties.
Yes,
yeah.
He could not hear very well, and but he was very sound mentally. Academically, he was okay. How was I going to help this fellow? He was a technician of the highest order. So I got a friend of mine who was running a cable company. I said, well, this is a man, this fellow like that, I'm connected to him one way or the other. But you give this person a chance. There in the place where we were sharing a drink, he interviewed him. Every time the man would make a statement and say, you understand, no? So So, and that's how the man told me later on, Ben, how do I help this kind of person, you know? To even that with me, I'm talking to, how much more I'm talking to a customer, you understand? So it was discarded. I went again and got another cable company, and I got to the director. I said, "Well, look, you have to help your man. This is the kind of situation I have." He said, "Well, he has to write an exam." And out of the 11 of them that were selected, shortlisted, haven't made it. He was top on the list. He was first there. But when it came to interview, they had no choice. The man again demanded to know. So it depends on the degree of disability.
Yeah.
You understand, no? Those that cannot see, those that cannot walk, it depends on the degree of disability. And then the opportunities are not just made available to them. If the government, I don't know how the government can help these people, is to make opportunities available for them. Make sure that what obtains here in CDC is like prevalent in other companies. You understand? That if a disabled, that each company at least keep aside 5% of employment opportunities for the disabled. It's a law which is passed in the National Assembly. People will respect it. People are sensitized. They will respect it. And you see, they're now going to companies which are nearer them and they'll be employed. I don't think there's another better way of helping this law.
Okay, Pasama, recently the Limbe One Council, the Lord Mayor to Limbe One Council, Mboya Florence, handed some support to the disabled community here in Limbe, and equally in Limbe 2 Council, the Lord Mayor of that council, Chief Okandanye, has been doing a lot to support persons living with disability. But times with that number, these people are given fish to eat rather than teaching them how to catch a fish. Don't you think council should be sponsoring projects for the disabled rather than giving them financial assistance? Because most of these financial assistance they do end in the drinking parlors around the quarters.
Yes, in private pockets.
Yeah.
So what the mayor of Limbe One did, it was also for her to also be known by the disabled.
Yeah.
Because she has just come into office, and some of them don't yet know her. That was one of the points for her to do that, and not only helping them to give them to create a bank. Where something can be stored there for the disabled. Even I know one time the disabled were united. They were united in Limbe here. They used to hold their weekly meetings at the social welfare center there. Sometimes every week, sometimes every monthly, and they were being assisted by many group of associations. But what dismantled at their group, sometimes when some money is sent to them, they get it in rumors. The money don't get to them. They only hear that money was sent to them, and at the end, when those things started happening, that group disappeared. And they cannot succeed in getting any assistance when they are not together.
Yeah.
When they come together and they unite and they begin to exchange ideas, that one will enable them now to forge ahead. Looking of assistance, and that assistance will come because they know that they are in group. They have their numbers. They have listed. They type of listed. So that any company or council coming to assist them, they know that there are 10 of them in Limbe. Okay. There are 20 of them, and they will know how to arrange the budget for the 20 for it to reach them. But when they are scattered, moving some going to on market days to be begging in the market, sitting on the
Other disabled people are well talented, others are really struggling, while others they keep begging on the street. And certainly that were the topic we could put together for this edition of Newsstand. Before we quit the studio, Mr. Benjamin, certainly your last word before.
Giving gifts to the disabled annoys them. You understand? No?
Yeah.
Yes, annoys them. There are some of them who have a woman and children. You understand? Don't give me something. You understand? No? Even right now, like that, I prefer that you give me a job to do. You
empower them.
We empower them. That's what they want.
Yes.
You understand? No? Empower them. Don't not living. In fact, when you give them something, you get them thoroughly irritated. Find them something to do. They should earn a living. Most of them, they have families. You understand? What you come and give me 10 miserable cups of rice and 2 cups of? Did I beg you for? No, I rest my case.
Okay, Yakub, conclude this statement before we quit.
I want to say that this is a prelude to what will come in CAM1 TV. It was a very good initiative. For now, if it was not good enough, it will be better next time.
Yeah.
It will be better next time.
And when people like you are around the corner, then there is more hope.
Well.
Yeah, sitting with them with wisdom, men of wisdom. Okay, Father Francis, you have been missing in action due to the incident, but thank God, God being so good, quick recovery. The grace of quick recovery was upon your life, and today you're sitting and we're chatting. Your last word, sir?
Yes, I would only like to tell the televiewers that are watching Lionga, so that this program can go extra miles, should go above the sky. And I would also like to remind listeners, televiewers of CAM1 that have been. I have a program in this radio house where I will be inviting Franco to come and say something about old timers in my program. I've contributed in his program today, and I want him to come and pay back what I've done today for his own program to go ahead. So anytime from now, televiewers of CAM1 will be watching old timers come up again with Pastor Sama. I hope you will remember the program. I was off because I had an accident, and I've been also a disabled somebody, though they were talking of disabled.
So now you're part of the person living with. Okay.
Yes, and I'm one of the disabled, where I also highly need assistance too. Okay. I'm only going to look at the other disabled.
You need to be empowered.
Yeah,
you don't need assistance.
Come back, and for old timers to be very powerful when I come back.
Okay,
I pray that this program of the day press, the
newsstand,
continue and go places.
Okay, thank you very much. We want to say thank you, Mr. Benjamin Echenge, the editor-in-chief of CAM1, editor-in-chief of the Star newspaper. We want to say thank you, veteran Pastor Sama George, veteran journalist, for being part and parcel of this first edition of the program Newsstand. And certainly, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for staying glued with CAM1 Television via Anchorman Frank Lionga Ngale, wishing you the best while urging you to keep the spirit. Let peace reign, fight for peace, and say no to war and violence. Until then, see you next time. Same TV station, same program.
Embarked on customer centricity and change management. That is, putting customers at the center of all its operations. Within the framework of fight against COVID-19, Madam General Manager of Camtel has tailored offers to ease implementation of government's measures to keep social distancing by staying at home, studying from home, working from distance, and holding distance business meetings. These offers are mobile internet at a very cheap rate, 150 gig for the same price as at now. A SIM card costs 500 francs with initial 2 gig free of charge for internet connections within 24 hours. There is also activation of internet from home through short codes. You can get the codes through Camtel's commercial centers. Another important offer is the distance business meetings, which enables organizations and institutions to hold video conference calls from 3 to 100 persons, be it